Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to talk about Python dictionaries. Yes, you heard it right. We have something called a dictionary, and we're going to use that dictionary and as another project, do your function that translate the Morse code. So stick around to see how that goes. Okay, let's get started. What is a Python dictionary? So in Python, you can define a dictionary, which just like a normal dictionary, let's say you want to know what a word is, like the equivalent of a word is in, let's say French or something. You open a dictionary, there is a word, and then there's a definition. You can obviously do the same thing in Python, right? And to do that, I'm just going to call it my dict for a dictionary. And that equals, you use curly brackets to define it. You remember, if you use square brackets, then it's going to be a list. But to define a Python dictionary, you have to have curly brackets. And in your dictionary have some keys. Think of it as the words in an actual dictionary and some values. So if I go, my dictionary is, I'm just going to go with name. And name is, for example, David, right? And then let's say we have another key, age, and the corresponding value to this key is like 10. And then what else can we do? We can do his GPA is, and see how I did is like column. It's not equal. It's nothing like that. So these are the keys, right? You make sure that you use curly brackets and then the keys and then column and then the values follow. So GPA is, let's say, 3.6 and he's a pretty good student, I guess, David. And so this is your dictionary, right? And now if I go print my dict, then you will see that it prints a dictionary for me here. It says name is David, age is 10, GPA is 3.6, right? Then you can obviously add things to your dictionary, right? Like I can go here and say my dict. Now I want to add another key and I'm just going to call that last name, right? And I'm going to go, that is, I don't know, like my doll. And now if I go print my dict, and then you will see that, well, the first print is the first one up here. And then the second one, you see it has the newly added key and its corresponding value as well. What else can we do with the dictionaries? The other thing that we can do here is to say, I'm just going to keep that in here for now. And so I'm going to go print my dict dot keys to see what are the keys inside your dictionary. And if I do this, you see this. It says name, age, GPA, last name. These are your keys in the dictionary. And I can obviously do the same thing for values. It's very useful, actually. And I do the same thing, and it says, okay, here are the keys, and here are the values. But if you look at the type, if I go return or print type of this for me, see, it's not a list. It's nothing that like we've talked about so far. It says it's dictionary keys. And if I do that for the values, it says dictionary values. This is not really useful as it is. So what people usually do is that they convert it to a list, right? Then you have a list and then like you can do a lot of operations. We've talked about these operations before. So this way you can get lists, and this makes it sometimes easier for some specific tasks to deal with. So this is just the concept of dictionaries, right? You have a key, you have your corresponding values, there are two built-in functions or methods that you can use to get the keys and values, and then I showed you how to add stuff to your dictionary, right? So this is the concept of dictionary. And now we want to use that to write a Python function that translate Morse code. What is Morse code? If we don't know that, we can actually just Google that in a Wikipedia page or something. But basically, in Morse code, every character in the English language is substituted by a series of dots and dashes, or maybe sometimes for some characters, just a single dot or a dash, right? Here is what I did to save us some time. Just like defined it here. I defined my Morse code dictionary, right? I just like took it from Wikipedia. And you see letter A is this. It's a dot and a dash. Letter B is a dash and then three dots. C is dash dot, and so on and so forth. So we have it for, letters A to Z, and digits from 0, like 1 to 9, and then 0, right? And then like obviously comma and then dot, question mark, slashes, and hyphen, and brackets. There is like a more complex and complicated Morse code dictionary as well. Like if you want to keep adding other letters to it, and like make it, I think they call it the international dictionary for that. It comes with some Arabic characters and some, I don't know, like it comes with a lot. But here we're just like talking about the concepts of it. So you already know, like when I say A here, A is the key and its value is this. So now I'm going to use that and write a Python function that encrypts a message for me. So it gets a message, let's say I say hi, and it gives me the translation, basically Morse code. So I'm going to call it Morse encrypt, and it gets a message, right? And how do we do that? I define a variable named cipher. It's an empty variable for now. And I'm going to go for L in message, L short for letter. You can actually just use letter. I'm going to be lazy. For L in message, right? What am I going to do? I'm going to go if L equals space, right? Because space doesn't translate. Space is what separates the word. It's the same, right? So if I'm getting space, then cipher plus equal space. Cipher would be the translated message in Morse code. So if I'm getting a space, then I use the space. Else, if I'm not getting space, I'm getting a letter, let's say letter H or something, right? Then I have to go cipher plus equal. Now I need to use my dictionary and go Morse code dict, right? And then you have to give it the key. And the key in this case is the letter, right? So if I go Morse code M, as we saw in the previous example that I showed you, for example, it returns this. Yup. And then once I get that, then it's a letter. So I'm just going to add a space at the end. And that's it. And then I'm going to go here and say return cipher. Interesting. Let's see how it works. I'm going to go message M equals hello. And I'm going to go print Morse encode of M and see what happens. If I run this, it says error. What's happening here? It says key error H. This, like, it doesn't recognize this key H. If you look at the dictionary, right, it's all caps. So we have capital H. That's why it's saying I don't know small h, right? So what I'm gonna do here is that there is an easy, like the easy fix would be just like do this in all caps. But what you can also do is that you can go upper, I think. It's the art of upper, maybe. Yeah. So it makes that in uppercase, whatever it gets, right? And so when it sees H, like small h, it's just okay, converts it to capital H. And if I run this, it says, this is hello. Let's see if it's actually correct. So H is dot, 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 dot. So 4 dots. That's what I'm getting. E is a single dot. So I'm getting H space E, which is single dot. And now L. And L is here. It's a dot, dash, dot, dot. So dot, dash, dot, dot. Another L, dash, dot, dot, dash, dot, dot. And then space again. And then finally letter O, which is 3 dashes. And that's what we're getting here. Easy. Now let's define a function that does the decryption for us, right? So I'm gonna give it a message. Obviously, the Morse encoded message, and I want to get the equivalent English text for that, right? How do I do that? First thing I need to do is that I'm just gonna go and say message equals or plus equal what am I gonna do here? Just add a space in case like the other one, like the given message didn't have a space, so that I know that like it's a separate word. I can separate the words properly. And then let's actually start. I'm just gonna close this function in here so there's more room. And I'm gonna go decipher. The decode and cipher, obviously, is it's an empty string for now. And site text, I'm gonna call that, or it's just like you can, I don't know, say English translation is for now it's an empty string. And okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get a string like this, right? I'm just gonna copy this and put it here so that I can explain what's going on. I'm gonna get a string like this, right? So let's see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go for L in message, right? I get a dot in the beginning, right? So the first thing I need to do is to go if L not equal space. If it's a space, it's a different scenario, right? We want to see if it's not a space, then what do we want to do, right? I'm just gonna go I, like I'm using this variable I. You will see how I'm gonna use it in a second. I'm gonna go I equals 0, and the English translation equals or plus equal L, right? And if it was space, it means that I already have a word. Then I'm gonna go I plus equal 1. And then what happens next? And I'm gonna say if I equals 2, right? Then decipher, or yeah, the cipher was good. The cipher plus equal space, and else do something else. Let me explain what's happening here. So basically, I'm saying that I'm getting a message like this, right? The first thing that I get is a dot. I have to keep going. Like I have to be able to decode the whole thing, right? So I want to keep going until I see the space. And I'm saying, if it's not the space, right, just keep adding. Add the letters to English translation, right? And so it's going to go dot, 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 right? We're here. It's not space anymore. And then once it hits that spot in the code and it says, okay, now I got a space, right? It goes out like this condition is not true anymore. We go here and it increments I. What happens now is that this I thing is here to say if it's a word or not, right? I'm saying if I equals 2, right? I want to add that word. But for now, it was 0 here, right? So I is 1. If it's 1, and what I have in English translate variable here is only 4 dots. Dot, 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 dot. We got here, incremented I is 1. This condition is not true. You will see how I'm going to use this now. And so we go here because I is 1. Then I'm going to go decipher, right? Plus equal. And now I need to find the key, the corresponding key in my dictionary for this. How am I going to do that? I'm going to get a list of all my keys, right? I'm going to go Morse dictionary, dead keys. It gives me all the keys. So this is like all the keys. And now in those keys, I want to find an index, right? I'm going to go Morse code dictionary dot values, right? It gives me all the values, and that got index, and I'm looking for the en translate, right? So what did I do here? Let's actually do this. I'm gonna go, this can be very confusing. Deep keys is this guy in here, right? So these are my keys, A, B, C, D, letter Z, the digits and everything. Dict, school it. Dict values, and just call it vowels, equals list of Morse dictionary, the values, right? Forget about this for a second. So I have the keys, I have the values, and the value that I'm looking for is this guy. How can I do that? You remember in the video that we were talking about late separations? We can go that we go corresponding index is in this list. This is oh god, hold up. So this is my list. This is my value list. In this list, dot index, and this is what I'm looking for. Right? I'm looking for this value within this list. And this, the whole thing returns me an index. It says, oh, this was the fifth element, for example, in your list. And I have a corresponding index, right? So now I'm going to go decipher equals in the dict keys, that's a list, and I want this element. Right? Now I have an index. What am I doing here? I want this guy, right? And yeah, and then you say in translate to 0 or like an empty string now, and then the next time it comes here, I is 2. because you incremented, and then you just added space. Now you know why I have like this I thing. So if I 0, it means that I'm still getting the character like this or this. Like I'm still within this. I'm waiting for space to cut. When I see this space, I go do the translation, find the equivalent word, put it in here. Sorry, find the equivalent letter, put it in here, and in the next iteration, I add a space, just like that. And that's it. That should be that list. And then I'm gonna return the cipher, right? Just gonna go here and go return. Uh, return the cipher. It should work now. But let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go m equals hello, like before, and Norse message, for example, is Morse code M, and I'm just gonna print Norse M, and then I'm gonna go English message is Morse decode, and I'm gonna give it the encoded value in Morse, and I'm just gonna go print English message, right? So what's happening here is that I have a letter, I have a message here, M, and then I encode it using this, and I expect to get something like this, right? I'm just gonna cut that from there and put it here. This is what I expect to get, and then I print it. I'm saying this, and then I'm giving the Morse encoded value to the function that decodes it, and I'm hoping to get the same hello value here. Let's see. If I run this, let's clear that, and then run this, it's the same thing, but it's just like in all caps, obviously, because that's how our dictionary works. That looks like it's working. Make sure that you read over the code again. The encryption was really easy, right? Just nothing special here. But the decryption could be a bit complicated here in this area, but I'm sure that if you read it once, it's going to be super easy. Thanks for joining us today. Let us know in the comment if there is anything that you want us to focus more on it. And take care. See you in the next video.